The U.S. military is ramping up its weapons training for Ukrainian forces, but those on the ground say they're lacking some basic items like batteries, tools, and even manuals that are written in Ukrainian. We're joined now by Anton. He is a Ukrainian-American volunteer who trained Ukrainian soldiers on these weapon systems. Anton, thank you so much for being with us. You're joining us from Houston, but you're just back from Ukraine, where you spent time in the East. Can you tell us what you were finding to be the biggest challenge for Ukrainian forces who were training, especially on javelins?
Thanks for having me. Just being there on the ground, the things that we saw, the need that we saw was really that we're really, really grateful for the West for supplying multiple varieties of anti-tank systems, and we're really grateful for that. One of the problems we ran into is that the units that were assigned those items, they didn't know how to use them. And there wasn't training that came with it. They gave the javelins, gave the rockets. They didn't say, how many batteries you're supposed to have. They didn't give them rechargeable batteries so they can practice. There's a lot of things, there are a lot of gaps there. And this is something that myself and other people like me are trying to fill that gap in the last 2 months.
Well, has it been rectified now? I mean, are the forces on the front line, do they have the weapons they need, and do they know how to use them?
After several months of work, there's more, like I said, there's more people like me. There's hundreds of people like me that go around the country and they help in any way they can. And we've trained over 120 javelin operators as well as trainers. They can train others. We've been multiplying that knowledge as far as we go. We also have translated the manual and helped Ukrainians get their hands on that. And also, Mark Hayward has been a friend of mine as we've been working together. He's been petitioning and lobbying in his senators to increase the amount of training equipment that's going to hit the country. So we're hoping that's going to really take root and is going to make a big difference.
We had Mark on the program last week, and the Pentagon watched the interview with interest, they said. So they'll probably watch this one, Anton, with interest as well. Can you, if you were talking to them specifically and you wanted to tell them the things that Ukrainians needed, whether it was a manual that is in Ukrainian instead of English so they aren't using Google Translate for a highly technical manual, what would your list include? Or even if it was coordination they need to do with the Ukrainians to make sure that certain things accompany these weapon systems, what would you tell them?
There's an already existing program out there in Poland where they move Ukrainian troops to Poland and train them. However, that's not the most effective way to do this. The most effective way is to have a mobile training teams. People like myself, volunteers, not associated with the military or anything like that. We come, we go where the troops are, we provide them the training on the spot within 10 kilometers from the front line. And then they pick up those weapons, they head straight to the line, and then they already start making a difference. That's the most effective way. Is say you took 100 guys and split them into teams of 2 and made 50 mobile teams. You can travel in 2 weeks. You can hit every major battalion on the front line, and you can provide them that vital training.
Well, it sounds like you were pretty close to the action and you learned a lot about the Ukrainian forces. What did you learn about the Russians and their capabilities?
That's an excellent question. It is my personal belief, and I'm a civilian, so take it with a grain of salt, but it is my personal belief that the Russian army is incredibly incompetent. Incredibly. If they couldn't kill a civilian like me, that's why they struggle. That's why they struggle to advance. That's why they're dying by the hundreds every day. And the only reason why they have success is just the sheer amount of ammunition that they have. That is really, honestly, the only reason they come. They shoot everything that moves, and sometimes they hit something. And they're very, very good at just wasting ammunition in our cities.
Anton, you have family in Ukraine, a close family, including engaged in the fight. Can you tell me about that? Tell me about what your worries are.
Like I said, we very, very much appreciate Western support. It's been amazing, and it's not just the United States. Don't get me wrong. Europe has been really, really great with the help of volunteers, and everybody's been trying to help. So my biggest worry about is my family is fighting there on the front line. I mean, they're as close as it gets. And my biggest worry is that we not only need things like javelins, but we also need drones. We need night vision. We need things that are not basic equipment. Things that are kind of higher level equipment that really makes a difference in fighting at night, fighting at longer distances, surveillance, identifying the enemies where they are, their approaches before they get close. So those kind of tools are really, really critical. And I wish whoever is listening, if you have the power to do it, drones, night vision, thermal, all those things make a huge difference at the war. And I'm going to add this, it is my personal belief, if our friends continue to supply us the ammunition and the weapon systems, Ukraine will not only be able to stop the enemies where they are, they'll be able to drive them all the way back to their borders.
Anton, thank you. Or Texas, I believe, is how the Ukrainians called you while you were over there. Anton, we thank you for being with us. Very unique perspective that you're bringing, having been with the forces over there, and we thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.